My daughter turned 6 last week. We hired a clown named Bubbles from a local party service. He arrived in a colorful van, big red nose, oversized shoes, the whole deal. The kids loved him. He made balloon animals, told dumb jokes, and did magic tricks with coins that disappeared behind ears. But after the party ended and all the guests went home, Bubbles was still in the backyard. I told him the gig was over and offered to pay him an extra to leave. He just tilted his head, smiled wider than any human mouth should allow, and said in a high, squeaky voice,
The show isn't over until the last child stops laughing.
My daughter was already asleep upstairs. I checked on her every 10 minutes that night. Around 3 a.m., I heard faint circus music coming from her room. When I opened the door, Bubbles was sitting on the edge of her bed, gently stroking her hair with gloved hands. His makeup looked fresh, but his eyes were completely black. He turned to me slowly and whispered,
She's still laughing in her dreams. I have to stay until she wakes up. Forever.
I slammed the door and called the police. When they arrived, the clown was gone. My daughter woke up the next morning smiling. She hasn't stopped smiling since. Even when she cries, the corners of her mouth stay pulled up. And every night at 3 a.m., I hear the faint sound of circus music under her bed. I bought an old full-length mirror at a yard sale for $20. The seller, an elderly woman, warned me not to look at it after midnight, but I laughed it off. That night, around 1 a.m., I was brushing my teeth when I noticed something in the reflection. Behind me stood a clown in full makeup, white face, blue triangles over the eyes, and wide red smile. He wasn't in the bathroom with me, only in the mirror. I spun around, nothing there. When I looked back at the mirror, the clown was closer, one step nearer to the glass. I tried to leave the bathroom, but the door wouldn't open. The lights flickered. Each time they came back on, the clown had taken another step forward. By the fourth flicker, his painted face was pressed against the inside of the mirror, nose touching the glass. His breath fogged it from the other side. He smiled, showing rows of yellow teeth, and mouthed words I could barely hear. Let me out. I've been practicing your face for years. The next morning, the mirror was cracked in a perfect smile shape. I still see him sometimes, not in the mirror anymore. He's standing behind me when I close my eyes. I was driving home late from work on a desert highway when I noticed a car following me too closely. After a few miles, it flashed its eye beams. I pulled over, thinking it was an emergency. A man in full clown costume got out, big floppy shoes and a rainbow wig. He walked up to my window with a big grin and tapped on the glass. I cracked the window slightly. Need help? I asked. He leaned in close, voice muffled by the plastic nose.
No, but you do. There's a clown in your backseat.
I laughed nervously and looked in the rearview mirror. The backseat was empty. When I turned back to the clown outside, it was gone. His car had vanished too. Shaken, I drove off fast. A minute later, I heard soft breathing from behind me. I looked in the mirror again. There he was, sitting in the middle of the backseat, staring at me with dead eyes and that same painted smile. He whispered in a childlike voice, You should have believed him. He was trying to warn you. I slammed on the brakes and jumped out of the car, screaming. When the police arrived, they found my car empty, except for one thing, a single red clown nose on the driver's seat, still warm. When I was 9, our old TV only got 13 channels. Late at night, after my parents went to bed, I would sneak downstairs and watch whatever was on. One night, I found channel 13. It wasn't there before. It was a children's show called Happy Happy Clown Time. The host was a clown named Giggles. He had a green wig, a purple suit, and a smile that never moved. No matter what he said, his painted mouth stayed fixed in that huge grin. He looked straight into the camera and said,
Today we're playing a special game with our best friend at home. What's your name, kiddo?
I whispered my name even though I knew he couldn't hear me. Giggles clapped his hands.
That's right, come closer to the TV so we can play properly.
I crawled forward until my face was inches from the screen. Suddenly, the picture changed. The clown was now sitting in my living room, on my couch, still looking at me through the TV. But the room behind him was my room. He leaned forward and whispered, "You're on the show now. Smile for the audience." I turned around. The clown was sitting right behind me on the real couch. The TV went black, but I could still hear the laugh track and applause. Every night, at 2:13 a.m., my TV turns on by itself to channel 13. Giggles is still hosting. He always say the same thing.
Our special guest is back. Wave hello, kiddo.
I wave. I have to. He gets angry if I don't smile. They say there's a clown that only appears to people who laugh alone. Last month, I was homesick, watching stupid videos on my phone at 3 a.m. I laughed out loud at a dumb meme. The lights in my room dimmed for a second. When they came back on, there was a small red balloon tied to my bedpost. It hadn't been there before. The next night, I laughed again while reading comments. Another balloon appeared, this one with a tiny smiling face drawn on it. On the third night, I tried not to laugh. I really did, but something made me chuckle at the video. This time, the clown was standing in the corner of my room when the lights flickered. Tall, thin, with a black suit covered in tiny yellow stars. His face was painted white, but the tears under his eyes were real and dripping. He spoke in a voice like cracking balloons. "I collect laughs, real ones, the ones you make when no one's watching." He took a step closer. "Your taste, delicious." I haven't laughed in weeks, not even a smile, but last night I heard a soft squeaking sound under my bed. When I looked, there were dozens of red balloons. All of them had my face painted on them. All of them were laughing. I was driving through rural Nevada when I saw the neon sign, "Clown Model Vacancy." It was 2 a.m. and I was exhausted, so I pulled in. The lobby was decorated with hundreds of clown portraits. Every single one had different faces but exact same smile. The old man at the desk handed me a key without saying a word. Room 13. When I opened the door, the room smelled like cotton candy and old makeup. On the nightstand was a single Polaroid photo of me sleeping in that exact bed. The timestamp said, "Tonight, 3:33 a.m. I laughed it off as a weird joke and went to sleep. At 3:33 a.m. I woke up to the sound of honking nose and squeaky shoes. The room was full of clowns, dozens of them, standing shoulder to shoulder, staring at me with unblinking eyes. One of them stepped forward. His voice was cheerful and dead at the same time. "Welcome to the Clown Model. Checkout is never." I tried to run, but the door was gone, just a painted wall with a smiling clown face. The head clown handed me a red rubber nose. "Put it on. New guests always join the staff." I'm writing this from room 13. The other clowns are teaching me how to smile properly. They say I'm getting better. If you ever see the Clown Model on a lonely road, keep driving, because once you check in, the only way out is to become the next portrait in the lobby.